Good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hitting cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local and national Native news and events, and as you know, Chujunk, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
Yes, you are right, Dega. This portion of the show is supported by Native-owned JS Bean Factory off of Randolph Avenue in St. Paul. Only the good stuff keeps us awake.
Hey, we got to let our friends know on Facebook and YouTube here. I'm going to unmute my laptop here and say, hey, we have a little technical problems at the mothership, and we'll be right back with you rebooting the computer. And I hear the computer's really hot. No, I don't know. But just thought I'd let them know. Here we're back on with, looks like we're back on. Yes, cool. Hey, we discuss local and national news and events. And as you know, Chujunk, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
Yes, they are. Everyone go check out JS Bean Factory in St. Paul off of Randolph Avenue for all of your coffee beans and necessities.
Well, it's a sad day in Canada and all around, really, Turtle Island here. And hey, Wendy, how you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Let me unmute you here. You popped up on the screen here. Looking good here.
Thank you.
It's our buried relatives that are up in Canada, and we acknowledge them, Haley and Wendy, on this day. And It's, let's turn everything orange. It's an Indigenous Children's Remembrance Day here on Native Roots Radio in Canada and all over Turtle Island.
Yeah, and I think it's a really good reminder to just everyone listening, every single one of your Indigenous friends or any Indigenous person you know, either they're a residential school survivor, a survivor's child, a survivor's grandchild, or sometimes all three. Can be every single one. So we just remember all those that lost their lives in residential schools and never made their way home.
Well, how we're related to is our Gaga, which would be your great-grandma and my grandma, was in residential school, and Howard McKee Jr. went and kidnapped her and stole her out of there, and she was only there for a short time. But
yeah, thank goodness.
Still we have remembrance and residuals of that in our family and a lot of Native families. We're still healing here in our family.
Yeah, and I know everyone talks a lot about generational trauma and how trauma can be passed down into families to the next generation until someone is, strong enough or resilient enough to take on those traumas and heal not only themselves, but the generations before them. And I just want to say, proud of you, all of those that are doing that and, healing from this trauma that's lasted so many generations.
And it's rough work. And, it's not just Native Americans, but today we're talking about it, but all families go through some kind of trauma. I mean, you think about, the people that came to this country. There was no fresh water, so they were all like drinking brandy on the way here from their other countries all over the world in the olden days. And we got a lot of friends out there that have alcoholism and all that in their families too. And so we just got to, talk about trauma and that we all experience it, and we all have to have some empathy towards everybody's trauma.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And another thing to remember is, no matter where you're from around the country, we were all kind of colonized, just different times, and that affected everyone.
Well, I know Wendy's Italian families was colonized because we were all at one time, in tribes and believing in Mother Earth and sacred animals and all those things that Native Americans try to bring back or keep intact. And I know everyone's been colonized, Wendy.
Yes, they have. Our family back in Italy, like you said, came over, and we were called guineas and wops, and culture was taken away. And I mean, not like you guys, though.
Right.
I mean, you guys were killed and your children were stolen from you, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah, we got to acknowledge it though too, and the big acknowledgement for us today on Native Roots Radio 2 is up in Canada, because was it 3-4 years ago, Wendy? They kept on finding bodies outside these schools.
Yeah, and graves.
Yeah, unmarked. Yeah,
like you guys said, your grandmother and great grandmother. It's not that long ago that this all happened. People think that this happened like hundreds of years ago, and it didn't. It's just
right,
1 or 2 generations ago.
Right. I read somewhere on Facebook a person that's roughly my age was basically saying he was first generation that wasn't in boarding school.
Yep.
So you're right, absolutely right. That's, and those are things that we talk about too, Wen and Haley, is that, we, in 1978, Native Americans were able to practice their own religion, and that's a mind blower when you tell people that, because it's not taught in schools.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Still met with so much resistance. Native Americans trying to practice their spirituality, whether that's in school or just in public. And I just saw an article actually today, and I forget where it was, but there was some person was, I think, smudging, and they were expelled from school and they called it a satanic ritual, which is just very not true.
Well, what people don't understand, they're afraid of, and that's exactly what happened there. It sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's 2024. But I was never taught anything about Native Americans other than Columbus discovered us in 1492. That's the only really history that I was ever taught in the 60s and 70s when I was in high school and grade school.
Yeah, probably same. I don't remember too much of Native education, and now we're looking at, in Minnesota at least, where it's a required thing to be teaching in schools, which is, moving in a good direction.
Yeah, we'll see how that pans out, because I'm sure where you're around tall buildings it will be taught, but once you get further away from the taller buildings, I'm not sure how that's being enforced and all those things. So we'll see, but it's a start, and we're talking about it, and I know. When we run into people out in the community, they're really happy for this show, not only for our Native teachings and teaching everyone, but also our sacred animal. I learned so much about Wendy's sacred animal portion too. And so it's exciting that we do this. We've been doing this for a long time now, and we're excited to be here and reach a mass audience and talk about Native issues, which we talk about our human issues.
Yeah. I want to give you guys a shout out. You guys had something big and exciting over the weekend. It was your wedding anniversary. So happy anniversary to you too, Robert and Wendy.
Thank you, Haley.
Thank you, Big Peeny Gigi. Wendy's still with me. She should get some kind of award or something, but
she deserves the biggest award.
We'll talk about that some other show. Hey, you're listening to Native Roots Radio presents. Oh, well, we still have a minute. It looks like it's only.
I was a little early, so I was trying to get a little more conversation.
Well, I'm going to turn the music down a little bit, and happy anniversary there, Wendy.
Yeah, happy anniversary, Robert. 23 years.
What does it feel like?
Wow.
23 minutes underwater.
Whoa.
23 minutes.
You have to hold
underwater.
your breath and all that stuff. Wow. Yeah. Well, you're a trooper. I'm your best husband so far.
Yep, I always say that.
Yeah. Hey, now we got the sign for 30 seconds left. Now we wasted 30 seconds on anniversary talk.
Worth it.
Right on. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and we'll be right back after this short break.
Stay with us.
We are your relatives.
We are your relations.
Brothers,
sisters,
sons,
daughters.
And some of us are your grandchildren.
We are your community. Historically, we held places of honor and respect. Because of the impact of colonization, some of us are rejected, thrown out from family, friends, and community, set up as targets for sexual violence, sex trafficked, humiliated, tortured, and murdered. Everybody has the right to be safe. We are your relatives. Remember,
homophobia is not traditional.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hi, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. If you need new windows for your home or business, I highly recommend 952 Windows. They offer windows and doors with the longest warranties and Energy Star's #1 most efficient ratings. I can personally vouch for them, having known the owner for decades. They did a fantastic job on our second floor addition 20 years ago, installing windows, roofing, siding, and even adding a master bedroom and bathroom. In my opinion, they're one of the most best-kept secrets in remodeling. As Onyx Bath and Rosebud cabinet dealers, 952 Windows guarantees top-quality products. Until now, 952 Windows thrived on referrals and the loyalty of satisfied Window-Light customers. They continue to support these customers by providing warranty parts for the 80,000 windows sold since 1994. For unbeatable deals and trusted service on windows, doors, roofing, siding, kitchens, bathrooms, and more, call 952 Windows or visit 952windows.com.
Bonjour, hello. My name is Wabin. I am an enrolled member of the White Earth Nation, descendant of the Navajo Nation, and co-chair of the Indigenous Employee Resource Group with the Minnesota Department of Transportation. MnDOT is hiring for a variety of positions from road maintenance to accounting and more. We offer great benefits. For more information or to set up a one-on-one resume and application assistance, visit mn.gov/careers, or you can text or call 612-257-2388. 612-257-2388.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Clinic on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis, honoring health and tradition.
Hey, it's a fun Monday here, and we got Wendy with us, and we also have Dr. Stately, who's president and executive officer at Native American Community Clinic in Minneapolis. Was that the puppy that was
That might have
sneezing?
been some sneezing.
Oh. Hey, welcome, Dr. Stately, and good to see you as always. And looks like at your palatial mansion out in
my palatial mansion. That's so funny. Yeah,
that was from the old days of Rich and Famous. Remember those old?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, that was like a series, hey, back then. Who was the guy that did that?
Robin Leach? No.
Yeah, Robin Leach, I think it was Robin.
It was
Leach,
it?
yeah.
Oh, wow. That
The
was
Rich and Famous?
Yeah.
Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous.
Right.
Yeah, with Robin Leach, yeah.
We'd get kicked out.
It's hard yeah. We should do like an indigenous version of that. Lifestyles of the rich and famous bingo winners.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
You could have like you could go and visit people in their trailers up on their ads.
Right. Well, I have many medals from playing lacrosse and also completing the 5K that Ho Chunk always has every year. I get all these medals, so maybe we could like show off our medals.
Like in the elder category?
Yeah, right.
I think they just gave it for showing up. But I always, for the photograph, always
nice.
pretend to be running at the last, 100 yards. Wendy, I
Yeah.
think you were running with me a couple times.
I was running.
I would be one of those ones that like had my like family drive me and then drop me off nearby and spray some water on myself, make it look like I sweated.
Yeah. That's a good
Like,
one.
it's so exhausting. Did I break the record?
Right, exactly. Well, I think it's just a award. Matter of fact, I have so many of the medals. This year I said, no, give it to somebody else because I'm trying to downsize.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Easy
That's
there.
very generous of you. Do you have the ability to melt them down? Can you turn them into anything?
No, but no, but I wonder. No,
They're all plastic.
Oh,
well, yeah. Well, there you go. You can melt those down for sure.
Yeah, they're metal.
I don't know what you could make. I don't know what you could make out of them, but okay.
Something
Nice.
sacred, I
Awesome.
hope. Something sacred.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Well,
View and art.
Dr. Staley, I don't know if you know this, but like our New York family, and even including Wendy, was not feeling well, and COVID's still a thing out there, and it's coming back in the summer.
I think, well, New York is like a big international like transit hub, isn't it? Too. So like, yeah. So I mean, I think I have a staff member or two that have gone traveling in the last couple of weeks, and they all came back and they're like, they're sick. Their whole families are sick, and it's not just like, a little bit of a cold. It's like they feel like they're, they have like, what do you call it, flu? The demonic kind, because one of my staff members told me that her son projectile vomited all over the house this morning, and I was like, "Oh, was it like Exorcist?" And she goes, "Exactly." And I said, "Oh, it's demonic flu."
Yeah.
Wendy, you don't have that.
I don't have the flu, and I don't have COVID either. The doctor just said I have like an viral thing going on. And my head is clogged. I feel like I'm underwater. My sister's sick, and my niece has COVID. So.
Oh, wow. I know that there's like a month ago they were talking in like a COVID update that I was in. They were talking about how there's two dominant strains now that are kind of like, I forget what the names of them are. I don't even think they had names for them. They had like numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with it is that, it's kind of like a smart virus. Apparently smarter than your average teenager because they figure out how to sort of like really stealthy. They figure out a way to get into your system and like just knock you down. So, maybe I'm being unkind. I'm talking about maybe just my teenagers.
Yeah, well, it's still going on, and I was wondering. I just went and got a physical, and I thought, geez, they didn't give me a COVID shot, but I guess that's coming around in fall, right?
Yeah, so I think the plan is that during, like, right as people are normally preparing for things like going back to school, preparing for fall, the weather turning to cold, like around the time you'd normally get like your flu shot, I think what they're going to do is, and actually no, I think, I don't know what the name of the company is, and I probably wouldn't be able to say their name anyway because this is radio, but in the clinic a couple weeks ago, we got some samples of tests that were sent to us that were like COVID and flu together combined, so you can like test for the same thing at the same time. Yeah, and I was like, well, how does it work if you have both? Would it give us and I would imagine it's possible to have both. Why wouldn't it be possible to have both? So anyway, it's kind of interesting. Like, the technology keeps moving and changing with it, but I think the other thing that's like, just imperative of this conversation is like recognizing that, like, you know, we're closing out our 4th solid year here soon of COVID and entering to our 5th year. And so this is kind of the nature, I think, of where we talked about this a couple of years ago, I think, or last year, maybe a year ago now. It's like, this is going to become like what's known as an endemic, not a pandemic or an epidemic or a pandemic, but just endemic, meaning like it's just something that we all live with, kind of like the flu, kind of like, the cold, the seasonal cold, those kinds of things. And it's going to be something that we're going to be living with for a while. It might not be something that necessarily won't necessarily be something we typically and normally die from or even get seriously sick unless people who are very vulnerable get it, right? That's kind of the nature of an endemic.
It's crazy.
So I think that's what we have to look forward to for the next, I don't know, until the next thing comes along, which, oh, did you see God is coming through my window right here, right now?
Very angelic, yes.
Yeah,
I know, right? Oh,
your lighting director is awesome.
So sacred.
Oh, wow. Well, I had COVID and it lasted forever. I had a rebound, or what? How did it go? I had COVID,
I remember that
drug, and then
Paxlovid. You took Paxlovid,
and then 5 years later, when it was done, I regressed back to feeling sick. Mm-hmm. Now, Wendy, you've been sick for 7 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that the majority of people that are getting these respiratory things that, you know, look and act and behave like COVID, but aren't testing positive for it. And anyway, my colleague that went to Norway and also spent some time in Iceland before they came home was she's a funny one, that one. She said I think that we just don't have the tests here in America to test for the European version of COVID. And I was like, well, I don't think it works that way. But, but you know, it's like the thing is that if a strain mutates rapidly and quickly, I think probably it's possible that major components of it aren't caught by other tests that aren't designed necessarily to test for the antigens. So I don't know. I'm not an infectious disease specialist. I just, know that,
used to be.
I was an infectious disease specialist.
No, Wendy used to be.
Oh, she used to be. Yeah. And it's, everybody was during COVID, actually, quite frankly, if I can be completely honest. It's like, they all had different opinions, which was confusing to people. But I would just say, like, it reifies and reinforces the idea of, like, if you're traveling and if you're on a plane, if you're, like, doing these things, it's like, the best thing to do is, like, stay home. No, I'm just kidding. Or, wear a mask and, and those kinds of things. To be sure that you're trying to prevent yourself from getting sick. Because it seems like, to me, like lately, the newer episodes are lingering on for quite some time. They got a long tail,
Yeah.
So.
Hey, we're here with Dr. Stately, President and Executive Officer at Native American Community Clinic here in Minneapolis and Twin Cities, and with Wendy and Haley, and we'll be right back after this short break.
Stay with us.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis Air on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
J&S Bean Factory is a Native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
I'm Rachel Schroman, owner of Schroman Law, and I believe you deserve information. Our firm offers free quarterly estate planning seminars at our office in St. Paul. At these seminars, you can learn the basics of estate planning from an attorney to help you determine which estate planning documents will meet your needs and goals in an efficient and cost-effective manner. You can learn more and register at our website, schromenlaw.com/events. That's SCHROMEN law.com/events.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Hi, I'm Rachel Shamblatt. My dad is Dr. Scott Shamblatt from Shamblatt Family Dentistry. A lot of people are afraid of the dentist, but you don't have to be. My dad makes going to the dentist comfortable and even fun. He won't be mad if you haven't seen a dentist in a long time. He just wants to take care of you and your teeth. If you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get.
Shamblatt Family Dentistry in Hopkins and St. Paul. Find them online at shamblattfamilydentistry.com or call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH.
No matter if you're eating out or cooking something at home, eatlocalminnesota.com has you covered with a list of locally owned restaurants and food purveyors. Locally owned Vinaigrette has been offering the finest olive oil and vinegar since 2009. Reintroduce yourself to all the many flavors by tasting before you buy. From darker white balsamic to cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil from all over the world, there is something for everyone. Vinaigrette, located at 50th and Xerxes in Minneapolis, or at vinaigrettemn.com. The Park Tavern is your go-to destination for fun. Enjoy the fantastic food like their pizzas, burgers, and sandwiches, the best bowling in Minnesota, their wildly popular outdoor patio, great drink specials, all the big games on their numerous screens, and it's the perfect place for your next private event, even large gatherings for over 200. The Park Tavern is your go-to destination for everyone. Have fun at the Park Tavern, Louisiana Avenue, north of Highway 7 in St. Louis Park.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Showers and thunderstorms tonight with a low of 51. Then Tuesday, more rain and storms possible with a high of 81. There is no better way to celebrate these best days of summer than with an Eat Local Minnesota restaurant or food purveyor. They make for a perfect night out for any occasion or a great meal at home. See the full list of Eat Local Minnesota restaurants and food purveyors at eatlocalminnesota.com.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native Concrete and Masonry. Check out their work at nativeconcretemasonry.com and give Chuck a call at 612-597-0421.
Hey, we are here with Dr. Stately, President and Executive Officer at Native American Community Clinic in Minneapolis here in the Twin Cities. And it's always our pleasure to have you on and just discuss what's going on. And, if I had a cold, Dr. Stately, would that, and I had like a big debate, would that affect me?
I think you're affected when you don't have a cold and
One in a row for Dr. Stately. Who's keeping track here?
I'm just
one
kidding.
in a row.
You might really do well against Joe Biden, actually, quite frankly.
Yeah.
I think so too.
I mean, I think there's a lot of things. I don't know, like, have you ever had a cold or a severe cold where you felt like, I mean, I have felt that way. Like, I can't, like, if I take cold medicine and I can't think clearly and a few other things. And I'm like, I'm 62 and he's 81. So like, he's, I forget things all of the time. I forget the names of people I've known for 40 or 50 years when I'm introducing them to somebody, like we're at an event, I'd be like, and then because I have COVID some COVID fog still. So,
well, Wendy and I used
doesn't
to
mean
have,
I'm ineffective at leading.
That's
I
right.
can still find my way to my car in my bathroom. I can find my car at the Mall of America, which I think is, practically as difficult as running the country.
Yeah. Well, I used to park always in the same spot or same area, so I'd never get lost. But Wendy and I used to have a thing where, Wendy, if I introduce you first, that means that I don't remember this person's name. So then you go, oh, I didn't quite catch your name. And then I go into acting mode and say, oh, I'm so rude. I meant to invite, Right, Wen?
That's right. Now that everybody knows that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Just gave it away.
They'll be able to call you out now. So your cat's out of the bag there, dude.
Names are hard, though. They've always been hard for me.
Me too.
I think it's like we're at a place where we can just be like socially and be like, I'm sorry, I forgot your name. I can't. I'm having a difficult time recalling here. Yeah. Like I've been doing that lately. I just tell people like, I'm sorry, I have a little bit of COVID brain.
I have to fake it because I learned something when I was teaching in school, and especially as our community changed and we had, first-time citizens come to high school, that the most important thing that a person owns is their name. So that's why Wendy and I have been doing the charade for 23 years about names.
Yeah, Robert, that's why you called your kids at school all different names.
I gave them nicknames.
Because you couldn't say their real names.
All right. Now we're really getting deep here.
Wait, they're twins. Two are twins. So, did you mix those ones up?
Yeah, every once in a while I would say, what was it? Jalissa.
It's a really cute, funny story. I'm going to just say it really quickly. One of Robert's students, I don't even remember her real name, but Robert said, I'm going to call you Jenica. So then all the kids in the class started calling her Jenica. And then all the kids in the hallway called her Jenica. And then all the kids in the school called her Jenica. And when she got her school jacket, the name that she hadn't printed on it was Jenica.
Well, she came up to me, and she was one of the underclass people that,
Isn't that cute?
We were going to go out and videotape. And she goes, you don't even remember my name, do you? And I said, yeah, it's Jenica.
Yeah.
It was Jessica.
That person is a relative of mine, and that she's been in therapy for quite some time because
story.
of
that. She had her name, that name, her nickname embroidered
on her athletic
jacket because it was a name that was endearing,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, she did it herself?
Oh.
Yeah, she did it herself.
Because everyone started calling her
cool.
Jenica after that.
Oh, okay.
Because
I thought they did it like a mistake or something.
Because Mr. Pilot was a dum-dum, and everyone started calling her Jenica, and then it became her nickname. And then she loved it, and she put it on her letter jacket and a couple other athletic things that she had her name on. So, yeah, it was a fun story.
Wow.
She's in therapy now, though, I imagine.
Yeah, working through all the, shame, frustration, mistrust.
Oh my God.
Misidentity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Haley, easy.
She's thinking
Haley
that she
hasn't
has
said any-
a personality disorder or multiple personality disorder. Like,
Yeah,
maybe
there
I
you
am
go.
Jenica.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Wow. Is this a
So,
tape
Jenica,
show?
if you're out there listening to
Yeah.
us, make sure you call in next week, okay? Because we want to hear your story.
Definitely.
We want to hear how things are going. I think I am Facebook friends with her. Maybe I'll reach out and say, hey, Dr.
Sweet
Stately
Jesus.
wants to talk to you.
Yeah. Maybe she changed her Facebook name to Jenica.
Haley's on a roll.
Gonna-
Haley
actually,
hasn't
I'm gonna
said
look that
anything
up.
all
I'm gonna
show,
look
and
that
she's
up,
attacking me now. What the heck? I almost said hell.
Oh.
Yeah. What else, Haley?
I mean, not much. I just am getting over my little weekend of recovering from that very embarrassing presidential debate.
Oh gosh. Well, there's a part of me, I have really mixed feelings about it because I have friends who are just like, oh my God, he needs to drop out of the race. And oh my God. And I was like, really? Does he really? Like, okay, so like that's a reasonable thing. As like, even so, like, here's the thing that I think that is probably that no one has said yet. Nobody has said this yet. So I'll be possibly the first one to say it. Like, even if he is like mentally, sort of diminished, and even if he is having some other challenges, like, shaky voice, and at least he can be. At least he's like he must be native because he makes fun of himself all the time. So that's a really good thing. He's not like completely incapacitated. And here's the other thing that I was just talking to somebody about the other day is like, do you think that this idea that people have, like, this is the thing that's challenging for me, is like this idea that people have, like, the president actually runs the entire country. The president doesn't actually run the entire country. The president has like competent people that they hire, right, and that they appoint, and that they make, and that they have an entire cabinet. They have like a workforce of like thousands of people that help them to sort of make good decisions and keep them well informed. It's like, and in comparison, the other guy, the orange one, like appointed his own family members and a bunch of other incompetent people. And thusly made a lot of incompetent decisions. Like, it's possible that Trump is like not as stupid as we all think. He just maybe surrounded himself with stupid people, which is like, a whole other issue. I mean, I think, I've been president of my company now for about 4 years, and what I've learned in that role is like, I can't run it. I don't know every single thing about running a health center. And I just don't, but I know how to identify people with a set of skills and some talent, and I can identify when people are committed and they work hard, and they have morals and ethics and principles and all these things that go into sort of leadership. I can identify those skill sets and those talents and those characteristics. And so what I do is I pull those people into my team because I need, in order for me to quote unquote look good and not look like incompetent in public, I need somebody to help me with that.
Exactly. Just because
this idea we're kicking around is crazy.
Just because you think Alfred is too old to take care of the Batcave, you don't replace him with the Joker. And the people that are complaining to me never were going to vote for Biden. So whatever.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think the other thing, some of the things that I'm bothered by are a couple of different things. One is like, I come from a culture that happens to sort of like value people who are older, right? Yeah. Who understand like he's lived a long time. He's seen a lot of things. He's pretty wise. He's done a pretty remarkable job with the economy, considering where we were at. Like at that whole conversation they had about the economy, I was like, wait, like, yes, you made this massive, huge, like what, $10 trillion deficit, the largest deficit we've ever had from any sitting president in the history of our nation. And so then I'm like, so some of this stuff just wasn't adding up, and I was like, and sadly enough, like, one narrative that I've heard a couple of times is like, well, he wasn't even on the ball, and you didn't even like challenge him on some of those things, and you could have like really took him to task and a few other things. It's like, well, have you ever been sick and wanted to like go into a dogfight when you were sick? It's like, Jesus, like, give like, and I get it. It's like, the biggest championship fight of every 4 years we have this process. But I think the challenge that I have is like two things. I sort of kind of read the undertones there about like, how like, oh, they're too old to be, to be of any service. It's like, well, in the Indigenous communities, we value our elders. We actually listen to their counsel, and we listen to their stories, and we glean really important information and make decisions based on that. And we actually seek out that elder wisdom, right? So I have a challenge with that. And I think the other under the surface conversation is like, people are like, well, I'm really concerned about Camilla, and like, what if he dies in office and Camilla takes over? It's like, well, would that be such a horrible thing? We'd have the first Black woman president in the entire history of the United States. But I think that people aren't willing to be transparent and open about their racism. And also their misogyny.
Exactly.
So,
exactly. And we talk about
so we want to call it something different, right?
Right.
We think that, or a lot of people in the country think that only a younger white male can lead the country, right? And
Right.
look where they've gotten us thus far.
I just got to say, Dan Quayle. Just 2 words.
Right? Was it potato or potato or what was it?
How do you spell it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Stately, we appreciate you jumping on. We know you're a busy person, and I just have to say this, that Trump made 30 false claims. We like to call them lies, where I was brought up during the debate. So there is that, and we just lost Dr. Stately. But thanks for being on, Dr. Stately, and
Thank
wherever
you.
you are. Oh, there you are. Good to see you.
I'm here behind this timestamp sign that's up on there.
Hey, Native Roots Radio up next. Wendy in our Sacred Animal section.
Stay with us.
Bonjour, hello. My name is Wabin. I am an enrolled member of the White Earth Nation, descendant of the Navajo Nation, and co-chair of the Indigenous Employee Resource Group with the Minnesota Department of Transportation. MnDOT is hiring for a variety of positions from road maintenance to accounting and more. We offer great benefits. For more information or to set up a one-on-one resume and application assistance, visit mn.gov/careers, or you can text or call 612-257-2388. 612-257-2388.
Minnesotans age 65 plus might qualify for Health Partners Minnesota Senior Health Options. The plan includes personal support, coverage for medical, prescription drugs, and dental, plus over 30 extra benefits. Eligibility information is available at healthpartners.com/oneplan. Health Partners is a health plan that contracts with both Medicare and the Minnesota Medical Assistance Medicaid program to provide benefits of both programs to enrollees. Enrollment in Health Partners depends on contract renewal.
Imagine over 7,000 voices from around the globe coming together in harmony in Minneapolis. This summer, Gala Choruses Festival 2024 comes to Minnesota. It's the world's largest LGBTQ plus singing event. From July 10th through 14th, Minneapolis will be transformed into a vibrant city of song. Join 122 choruses from places as far as China, Estonia, Finland, Ukraine, and Taiwan for 5 unforgettable days of wall-to-wall concerts, workshops, and social events at world-class venues like Orchestra Hall, the Minneapolis Convention Center, and Central Lutheran Church. One standout event not to miss is the free Choral Carnival on Friday, July 12th. Experience excitement as downtown Minneapolis comes alive with 45 to 60-minute rotating performances. Feel the energy in person by purchasing tickets at galacourses.org or stream every performance live and on demand at galacourses.org. Celebrate love, diversity, and the power of music at Gala Choruses Festival 2024, where every voice matters. July 10th through 14th in downtown Minneapolis.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio. This is Spirit from Reservation Dogs. Get up and listen.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Enough.
Okay, good. Good. Very strong, healthy wolf right there.
That's a long breath.
That's from all those days of playing the brass instrument and trumpet and things like that. Hey, I want to introduce my awesome and beautiful wife, Wendy. Wendy's been an animal advocate for many years, and she's been here on 8 years here on Native Roots Radio talking about our sacred animals, and it's great to have you on. And I see you have no notes, so I'm excited to hear what you have to say.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. My name is Hanajihihani. That means cares for them. I was given that name by my Dagar Curtis. Curtis goes by Mashke Hanajinga, which means walks on white clouds. I'm a humane policy volunteer leader for the Humane Society of the United States, and I work on animal issues at the local and state level, and it's always my pleasure to do that. And I just want to remind everyone to please make sure your fences are secure and your kitties and dogs will be inside for the 4th of July.
Oh, God.
Yeah, the most dogs go missing on the 4th of July than any other time in the whole year. Even the most well-behaved and well-trained dog will sometimes get freaked out and dart and just leave and run. So just really get their tags in order, put their name tags on with your information on it. Keep them in the house where it's nice and cool. Put the AC on, a
fan maybe.
Play an old album that you think that they like on repeat.
Yeah.
Play Lassie, just, the best of Lassie.
Put some noise on so they don't have to hear the loud noise. So it's really hard. It's really hard too for people who have PTSD too. I just want to say that military who really these sounds are deafening to them. So
brings back a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
Are you planning on, and I know because we fly a lot with the dog now, are you planning on giving her anything for the 4th of July?
Oh, well, if we're home with her, I think if it's going to rain and we're going to be home, I think she's fine. I might give her a little bit. That's a good idea. Maybe just to take the edge off.
Right.
Because you have separation anxiety on top of being afraid of thunder and loud noises. So that's a good idea. We should probably do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems to be pretty effective, but she's a pretty hyper dog for 15 or 16 years old.
Well, she's just turned 14 on May 5th.
Oh, 14?
14. Well, we think she's 14. We don't really know for sure.
Oh.
Yeah. Did you know those little bees that you see in the evening sitting on flowers are old bees? Yeah, old and sick bees don't return to the hive at the end of their day. They spend the night on flowers, and if they have the chance to see another sunrise, they resume their activity by bringing pollen and nectar to the colony. They do this sensing that their end is near. No bee wants to die in the hive so as not to burden the other. So next time you see an old little bee sat upon a flower as the night closes in, thank the little bee for her life of long service.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, so at nighttime, if you see a bee on a flower, that's at the end of their life. Yeah.
Jeez. How long do bees live?
I don't think they live very long. I mean, I'd have to look it up, but I think it's just like a couple of months. Like they don't live very long. Things only crazy dog people do. Do you want to hear what they do?
Yeah.
Ask one dog where the other one is when you can't find them. We used to do that, right? When we had Mickey and Poncho, I used to hear Robert say to Mickey, where's Poncho? Right? It's not a lie. People do that.
God. I didn't remember that.
That's true.
Okay.
Here's a little meme that I found. I've been looking for these memes, and they're so funny. So there's this dog and a little baby crawling on all fours, and the dog says, "Don't listen to them. You're already walking just fine."
I like that one.
That was a great explanation of that joke.
There was this dog. I read this story. I'm really excited about talking about this dog. So this is the Denver Boulder Turnpike dog. Denver Boulder Turnpike dog. Shep, that was the name of the dog. He became famous in history as a highway mascot who greeted motorists at the toll booths on the Denver Boulder Turnpike. In 1950, during the construction of the Boulder Denver Turnpike, a stray puppy wandered into the site where the workers would share bits of food with him. And in 1952, when the turnpike opened to the motorists and the construction workers left, the timid dog began begging for food from the toll booth attendants. And one cold night, one of the attendants working was able to coax the dog into his booth. The dog found a warm space to lay down, and the attendant found company to better his night. Soon the dog was named Shep. They became close friends with all the attendants, and Shep loved his new home, and the motorists were thrilled to be greeted by the dog. In fact, drivers would pay a little extra to help buy dog food, give dog toys and treats, and even pull over to have their picture taken with Shep. It didn't take long for the Colorado Department of Transportation to make Shep the highway's unofficial mascot. Despite all the love and attention Shep received, he still liked to roam off on his own and at times, but would always return. One day in 1958, he returned limping after he was mysteriously shot.
Oh.
Yeah, Clyde Bruner, a Broomfield veterinarian, treated the dog for free and continued to donate his service for the rest of Shep's life. In 1964, Shep was losing his sight and could barely get around. On August 3rd, at the end of the year, the men who loved and cared for him made the difficult decision to put Shep to sleep. Yeah, the highway superintendent buried Shep next to US 36 on ramp. 2 headstones were donated by residents, one with the inscription, Shep, 1950 to 1964, part shepherd, mostly affection.
Oh.
Yeah, and the other, Our Pal. Some suggested getting another toll booth dog, but one attendant insisted nobody could take the Shep's place ever. The extra money the motorist paid, which was more than enough to feed and care for Shep, went towards the cost of the turnpike. In 1967, the turnpike was paid off 13 years earlier than originally expected. In 2009, due to the ongoing construction, Shep's grave was moved to Zhang Spur Park next to the Bloomfield Depot Museum. He always wagged his tail at everyone who came by and was always happy, said Jane Spain, who helped lead the effort to move Shep's grave. For everyone that went back and forth on the turnpike, he was their favorite thing. And here's a picture of Shep. Yeah, so this was a Facebook post, and there were a lot of people who said that they made a special trip to Zane Spur Park next to the Bloomfield Depot Museum just to see his memorial.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that cute? It's a cute little story about a little dog that was homeless, and then he found a home. Yeah. So there's a meme here with a face of a donkey, and it says two things to make your day better. Number 1, do not watch the news.
Oh.
2, stay off the bathroom scales. I know, right? So here's a guy at the doctor's office, and the nurse walks in, and she's got a dog on a leash. So she says to the guy, low energy, depressed, you can try B12, but we have a lot of luck with K9.
Oh,
that's funny.
I get it.
Yeah.
That was good, Wendy. Thank you so much. And thanks for coming on, and happy anniversary.
Yeah, happy anniversary.
It's been 23 years of heaven for me. I'm sorry. I just have to say I'm sorry. Hey, Native Roots Radio. We're still here. We are the 7th generation.
Free Leonard Peltier.
Now.